What were you doing before I called you and before I was like, James, did you want to be on the long end? What was your what were you doing?
Just watching this new game. Just came out today, actually.
Oh yeah?
It's like a FPS rhythm roguelike,
Okay.
and for some reason, the devs decided to make everything have like the deep fry color filter, which is just awful to look at when everything is like flashing and moving around really fast. Really good music, though.
It looks like I'm gonna just have to sit here to break this, so I'll come back and sit here some other time. I want to explore more of these caves.
Was there anything else this way, or was it just a loop that goes back here?
I'm pretty sure there was at least one cave direction I didn't go in yet.
Hmm.
This reminds me of the Crystal Cave from that Winnie the Pooh movie that I made a video about.
It always comes back to poo.
Yes, it does. Always.
I
And
gotta actually
forever.
watch through that movie sometime. I think I've only seen parts.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth it, yeah. Definitely. One of the reasons I called you up today was because there's been a murder and you are one of the people that's been. No, that's not why. One of the reasons that I called you up today was because I've been listening to a whole bunch of like shitty news stuff and like people talking about stuff or something. I like someone talking about something philosophically that I think is bullshit, but because it's a video I can't say anything. And I was just kind of getting into one of those slumps of thinking about a whole bunch of different shit I can't really do much about. And then I thought to myself, maybe it's a good time to talk to another human being to have a. Oh, I thought this was a different way to go.
No, I think it
Fuck.
does just loop back.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. Going back. Well, I thought to myself it'd be a good time to talk to somebody else and have somebody else on here, and I was planning on having you on pretty soon anyway, and you were online. So yeah, it worked
Hmm.
out. But yeah, I often find myself listening to something and that or something like just right now or just recently. The last thing I was listening to and haven't finished was, I know the first name that comes out of my mouth, people are going to be like, ew, I hate that. But I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, but he had on Edward Snowden, and that just came out like really recently. I think it's his
Oh,
second thing with Edward Snowden. And
sounds potentially interesting.
oh, definitely. But it's also like it feels very depressing. And I got to the part where Joe Rogan's like, "That's really fucked up and sad. How are you so like okay?" And he's like, I think it's fine. I think this is okay." But I kind of more agree myself with Joe Rogan there. Like this is pretty fucked up, and it's surprising to see Snowden so like kind of okay and sort of feeling like, yeah, you know, in the future we'll probably be able to get through this. We'll figure out something.
Hmm.
And
What
it,
was
God,
it?
well, how much do you know about the whole Edward Snowden thing and everything?
Not too much. I know that he like was a whistleblower and leaked a bunch of controversial stuff the government was doing or something, but I don't know too much of the details.
Yeah, he was a government guy who was in on all of this stuff, and he had a good life and everything was great for him, and he decided to give it up because he believed that he could make a difference by exposing some of the shit that was going on with data collection in the government. uh,
Wasn't it like the Patriot Act?
the Patriot Act is a big part of it. I don't know all the specific names and details and how they relate to everything else, but yeah, the Patriot Act is a name that comes up a lot.
Hmm.
But yeah, I can't be like, I haven't read the Patriot Act. I haven't read a lot of these acts. I've only read a couple. And then the problem is like with a lot of these laws, especially if they haven't come out yet, but the Patriot Act obviously did, and there's like a second edition to it. So you have to know like what thing are we talking about specifically? And I think that's like a big long act with many things in it. But
Yeah.
so it's all confusing, and I feel like shit when somebody asks me a question, and it's like, well, I don't really know exactly because there's a million things to know. But
Uh,
uh, he exposed mass data collection being done by the government on every citizen of the United States, and
right. Yeah.
yeah. And then the government wanted to be like, well, shut the fuck up. So they were like, we need all this, and him telling everybody about this has put our country in danger. You don't want your children to die, do you? He's killing your children.
Yeah.
And then he left the country to go hide somewhere else. And
He
there's
fled to Russia for like a few years.
yeah, I don't know the details about where and when, even though you said you weren't sure about a lot of this stuff, but you seem to know at least a fair amount. So,
A
yeah,
lot of it was just stuff like years ago, someone on Reddit had like a best of post where they were talking about all this stuff. I
sure.
just kind of glanced through it.
Yeah.
So I have like very surface level knowledge.
Hmm. But it's just it feels sad that there's this shit. But there was one of the reasons that he got Edwardson, and maybe I shouldn't be just repeating things to you that is in a video that somebody could just go watch the interview if you want to, because like you just go
Fair.
watch that Joe Rogan thing, because I don't have much. If you're hoping for like the inside story, well, go listen to Edward Snowden on that, because I can't say it as well as him. But I guess you could argue that about like everything that I say. I'm so lacking in any specific knowledge that I'm like focused on that I can't really tell anybody about something in a way that they couldn't hear it better from somebody else.
I don't
So
know. You seem to have a lot of knowledge on that Winnie the Pooh movie.
fair enough. I do know a bit about the Winnie the Pooh movie. I can talk about that.
You can just
Yeah.
rehash all the points about that.
Oh yeah, but
Good like 3 hour conversation right there.
a 3 hour conversation. We could get it out and do a reaction. Get get Disney to fuck us over.
One of those things where you have just like a tiny little TV screen in the background showing like a
Hmm.
2% opacity stream of it with no audio.
Yeah,
Like really just trying to skirt copyright laws.
exactly. What was the other thing that was bothering me? Oh, there's like the all sorts of controversy. There's always controversy in the world, and it's always
Hmm.
it is, and I don't know what to do about it. And there's always shit that is annoying. I was listening to you know you get videos in your feed on YouTube of like recommended videos, and you ever like watch a video that's in your recommended, and then you realize, oh, this has changed what I'm being recommended now. I'm getting like 1,000 videos by this person, and I
Yep.
yeah. I started watching some videos like that, and there some guy talking about different stuff, but mostly like philosophical and life advice stuff. And like I thought that one video I'd watched seemed fairly good, so I started watching some of his others. And there was one that was pretty good, but uh, he started talking about the school system and teachers and how teachers like don't respect children at all. They just think the worst of them. And then he offered up the idea of a foil to that in some other teacher that he really enjoyed. And but then he talked about how that teacher that he thought was doing a good job of respecting people would like if that kid would show up late to his class, the teacher would like, even if they had a note from like whoever kept them late at saying like, oh, I kept this kid late, like let him off the hook, he'd rip the note up in front of them and just chastise them in front of the whole class. And he'd say, uh, I'm not allowed to be late, why do you get to be late? And I just and the guy he just said this whole story like this was supposed to make this guy look good, and I'm just sitting there like, dude, that's like a really asshole, stupid, self-important move. That's not
Yeah.
think yeah, and it's it, yeah, and it just pissed me off because the thing is, once you start to hear a person say something that you like you hear someone and you hear them say something that sounds like respectable and insightful, like what the guy was saying was he was talking about how the school system disrespects people, and you shouldn't expect the the kids who are being disrespected to want to learn when they're not given freedom or respect from the people trying to teach them, which I was like, yeah, this guy's on the right track.
Hmm.
And then he moves into that other point, and I don't think shitty points don't wouldn't bother me nearly as much if it was just some random on the internet who says them and you don't know who it is, because you just immediately assume, oh, that guy's just an idiot, right?
Hmm.
It's when you hear someone that you thought before was intelligent say something that you disagree with, where the what's the word, the cognitive dissonance kicks in, and it starts
Hmm.
feeling shitty, and I don't know, I don't know what
It
to say
feels like
there.
it invalidates their other good points,
Yeah, and it's hard
even
to
if
deal
you
with that.
still agree with them.
Yeah,
Like, sometimes you just say one stupid thing and your argument just goes right out the window.
but it's so difficult and hard to really talk about this sort of thing because I don't know what to say. It's just it feels shitty, and I don't know.
And I get that.
Yeah, and I know the like really the best thing would be just to like shut up with these first world problems of listening to videos on the internet, you know? Like you can just stop watching videos on the internet, but it's been sort of a big part of my life, so it's hard to do that, and a lot of the time like I get a lot of good from the internet and stuff. So it's not so simple as just like your life will be fixed if you just get rid of these all these things that you do.
Hmm.
Like yeah, it's more complicated than that of just like, oh, the internet is poisoning your mind and it's just very toxic for you. But like I get the perspective of that the perspective that because I think it's a true makes a lot of sense that you can only really have a good conversation, or you really can only have a philosophical idea or change minds and stuff if you talk to someone face to face, because you can ask like, well, what do you mean by that? Do you do you understand where I'm coming from when I feel this way about this? But then when you're just watching a video, like if the people watching me talk right now or listening to me and you talk, you just sort of have to sit there and deal with whatever bullshit the guy like me is saying, regardless of whether or
Yeah.
not like you like had a problem with something they said 5 minutes ago. So now you're just annoyed that he's continuing on with a point that you don't give a shit about at all. Uh, and
Hmm.
yeah, if it's not completely obvious, yeah, I called you also to vent. Yeah.
That's fine.
Do you have anything you want to vent about? You're generally not the venting type, but I gotta
No,
ask.
not really. Like, only real problem I have right now is just waiting on a job.
Hmm. You're
Because
generally
they.
speaking a very chill person, from my
Yeah,
experience.
thanks.
Yeah.
Just annoying that this place I applied to, and they sent me an email saying, like, hey, your interview went well, you got the job, but it's on hold until further notice.
Hmm. That's awkward.
So I have no idea when I'll actually be able to start. I was supposed to, like, last week,
So does this
and
count as not having a job or count as having a job but they're not paying you like for legal reasons?
for all intents and purposes, I don't have a job right now.
I suppose that's better than the alternative of them being like, no, you're employed by us, but you just can't come to work.
Yeah. You just don't work here and we can't pay you anything because you don't work. But you have a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the only way that would really matter though is if I had like unemployment benefits or something that would cancel.
That's what I'm getting at, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not on anything like that right now, so
Mm,
I guess it doesn't matter too much.
yeah. These damn
Just when
caves are so confusing. I'm looking for a dark crystal that I know that I can get now that I have the Matic, but yeah, I don't know how to get to it. Yeah.
does that just make like dark lights in your room?
I have no idea what it does. I think it gave me the impression that it might activate like like an RPG maker blue demon that's gonna follow me from the caves if I take it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I remember that, yeah. The dark crystal thing just reminds me of that movie, The Dark Crystal. You ever see that?
No, but the dark crystal! I
Ah, you
found
found it!
it! I have found the dark crystal. Let me turn on the sound to see if it makes any like screaming banshee noise if I get it.
Is there just ear-splitting music right now?
No, there are loud plap 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 as I move my feet. But
Ah,
but let's see, is it gonna this strange black crystal is missing from my collection. I will try to break it from the wall. Wonder how long this is gonna take.
well, you got 400 days.
I've
Plenty of
made
time.
very little progress yet. I think it might be good to end an episode here. And I'll just, in post, I'll just make this into a secondary episode.
I guess I can talk about the dark crystal in the next episode.
Yeah, everybody's going to be excited to hear you talk about the Dark Crystal. See you guys next time.